From our childhood, we were taught a very simple story about our past. We were told that thousands of years ago, humans lived in caves. We were told they used sticks and stones to survive. But recent discoveries are proving that this story is a lie. Deep in the ocean and buried under the sand, archaeologists are finding objects that shouldn't exist. Technology so advanced that it feels like it came from the future. These aren't just tools. They are blueprints for a world we were never supposed to know about. From 2,000-year-old computers to ancient light bulbs, these are the 5 ancient inventions that still scare experts. In the year 1901, a group of divers found a shipwreck off the coast of a small Greek island called Antikythera. Among the gold coins and statues, they found a strange, rusted lump of bronze. At first, they thought it was just a rock. But when the rock dried out, it cracked open. Inside, scientists saw something that stopped them in their tracks. They found gears. Not just one, but dozens of them. They were very small, precise, and perfectly cut. This was the Antikythera mechanism. For decades, experts were baffled. How could ancient Greeks make something this complex? According to our history books, humans didn't learn how to make gears like this until the 14th century. But this device was over 2,000 years old. Recently, new scans have revealed the terrifying truth. This wasn't just a toy. It was a high-speed analog computer. It could predict the exact position of the sun, the moon, and the planets. It could even predict eclipses decades before they happened. It was more accurate than a modern mechanical watch. The math needed to build this is incredible. The engineering needed to cut the metal is impossible for that time. The real mystery isn't just how they built it. It's what happened next. After this device was made, the technology completely vanished. It took humanity another 1,500 years to reach this level of skill again. Now we are left to wonder and find the answers to questions like, who gave them the blueprints? And why was this knowledge erased from history? Look at our modern world. Our massive highway bridges start to crack after just 30 years. Our skyscrapers need a team of engineers just to keep them standing. We spend billions of dollars every year just trying to stop our world from crumbling into dust. We think we are the master architects of infrastructure, but we are wrong. 2,000 years ago, the Romans built structures that could last for eternity. They built massive harbors, giant domes, and seawalls that have survived every storm in recorded history. For centuries, scientists were baffled. They looked at the Roman Colosseum and thought the builders were just lucky. They thought the stones were just bigger, or the Italian weather was just kinder. But they couldn't have been more wrong. Recently, the secret was finally pulled from the shadows. It wasn't about luck. It was about chemistry that we are only now starting to understand. It's a technology called self-healing concrete. When scientists looked at ancient Roman cement under a microscope, they saw strange white chunks of lime. For decades, experts thought this was a mistake. They laughed and said the Romans were lazy mixers who didn't stir their cement long enough. But they didn't realize those white chunks were the most advanced construction technology on the planet. This process is called hot mixing. The Romans mixed their cement at extreme temperatures, creating lime clasts. Here is the terrifying part. When a crack forms in a Roman wall, rainwater seeps inside. This water hits those white lime chunks and triggers a chemical reaction. The stone literally grows back together. It doesn't just sit there, it heals itself like a human wound. But the mystery goes even deeper. Most modern concrete is destroyed by salt water. The salt eats the metal and the stone until it collapses. But when Roman concrete hits salt water, it actually gets stronger. The volcanic ash they used, called pozzolana, reacts with the sea to create a rare mineral that makes the wall as hard as a diamond. We lost this recipe for over 1,000 years. During the Dark Ages, we forgot how to build for the future. Today, we build for the next paycheck, using materials that are designed to fail. Meanwhile, Roman harbors are still solid, even after 2,000 years in the crushing sea. Experts are scared because this proves that ancient builders weren't just primitive. They had a grasp of molecular chemistry that puts our modern labs to shame. They weren't just building cities, they were building living machines. If they mastered the earth and the stone, what else did they master that we have completely forgotten? For centuries, stories were told of a metal so powerful it seemed like magic. It was called Damascus steel. During the Crusades, European knights were terrified of these blades. They claimed these swords could slice through a falling silk scarf without snagging a single thread. But they were also so strong they could shatter a standard iron sword in one hit. The most striking thing about these weapons was the pattern. The metal didn't look like solid iron. It looked like flowing water or swirling wood grain. Warriors believed the blades were alive. For hundreds of years, modern scientists tried to copy this steel. They used the best high-tech labs and the hottest modern furnaces. But they failed every single time. No matter how much money was spent, they couldn't figure out how ancient smiths who worked in the dirt with nothing but simple hammers could make something our trillion-dollar industries could not. Recently, scientists finally hit a breaking point. A team of researchers put a fragment of an 18th-century Damascus blade under an electron microscope. What they found shouldn't have existed. Inside the ancient steel, they found carbon nanotubes. These are tiny, super-strong structures. In the modern world, we only discovered them in a lab in 1991. They are 100 times stronger than steel, but they are thinner than a human hair. This is nanotechnology. It is the same advanced science we use today to build spacecraft, bulletproof vests, and supercomputers. Somehow, people living over 1,000 years ago were manipulating matter at a molecular level. They weren't using computers or chemicals. They were using nothing but fire, hammers, and a special type of iron from India called woods. By adding specific leaves and wood to their fire, they were creating a chemical reaction that grew these nanotubes inside the blade. But then, the mystery took a dark turn. In the late 1700s, the recipe for Damascus steel simply vanished. The mines ran out of the specific iron, and the masters who knew the secret died without telling anyone. A technology that was 1,000 years ahead of its time was erased from the earth in a single generation. Today, we have all the satellites and robots in the world, but we still struggle to recreate what they did in the dirt. We like to think we are the first humans to master the small things. But the Damascus blade proves that the ancients were looking through a microscope we haven't even finished building yet. It makes you wonder, if they mastered the atoms in their swords, what else did they master that we are still trying to figure out? We're halfway through the 5 ancient inventions that still scare experts. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. In 1936, a group of construction workers near Baghdad uncovered something that would change history forever. Buried deep in the dirt was a simple clay jar, no bigger than a human hand. At first, it looked like ancient trash, but inside the jar was a secret that has kept scientists awake at night for nearly 100 years. Inside this 2,000-year-old jar was a cylinder made of copper and a single rod made of iron. To a modern engineer, this isn't just a jar. It's a blueprint. This is a galvanic cell. In simpler terms, it's a battery. Our history books are very clear. They say that the battery was invented by Alessandro Volta in the year 1800. But the Baghdad battery is 2,000 years older than that. When researchers built a perfect copy of this jar and filled it with a simple liquid, like lemon juice, vinegar, or even grape juice, it worked. It produced a real, measurable electric charge. It wasn't enough to power a smartphone, but it was enough to change the world. The question that scares experts isn't if it worked, it's why did they need it? Some experts believe the answer is a high-tech process called electroplating. This is a technique where you use electricity to coat a cheap metal, like silver, in a thin layer of real gold. Today, we use this for everything from jewelry to car parts. But the Baghdad battery suggests that ancient jewelers were using the power of electrons to create fake gold thousands of years ago. And then there is the forbidden theory. Some researchers have noticed that in many deep, dark ancient tombs, there are no black marks on the ceilings from smoke or fire. If they weren't using torches to see while they painted, what were they using? Were they using these batteries to power primitive light bulbs? If they had mastered the flow of electricity in the ancient world, what else were they powering? Was there a global grid of energy that we have completely forgotten about? Or was this a spark of genius that was snuffed out before it could start an industrial revolution? Every time we find one of these jars, we find another crack in the story we were told about our past. The ancients weren't just living in the dark. They were starting to find the light. Imagine a weapon so terrifying that it couldn't be stopped. A fire that didn't just burn on wood, but burned on top of the ocean. A fire that grew even stronger when you threw water on it. This was Greek fire. It was the secret weapon of the Byzantine Empire. For over 500 years, it was the most feared substance on planet Earth. Most fires have a simple weakness, water, but Greek fire was different. It was a liquid that floated on the surface of the sea. It stuck to enemy ships like glue. It was the ancient version of modern napalm, but it was invented 1,000 years before modern chemistry even existed. The recipe for this liquid was the most guarded secret in human history. Only a few people in the world knew how to mix it. It was kept in a secret lab under the emperor's palace. If you were caught talking about the recipe, you were executed on the spot. This worked so well that when the empire finally fell, the recipe vanished into the shadows. In 2026, we have the best labs in the world. We have satellites, supercomputers, and advanced chemistry. We have tried to recreate Greek fire hundreds of times. We have used oil, sulfur, and salt, but we have failed every single time. We still don't know the exact mix that allowed fire to burn on the ocean. Experts are scared because it shows that a single secret can protect an entire empire and then disappear forever. If we can't figure out a 1,000-year-old chemical recipe, what else have we lost? We like to think that history is a straight line. We think that every year, humans get smarter and more advanced. We think we are the peak of civilization. But these 5 inventions prove that history is actually a circle. There were masters of science, chemistry, and physics living in the dirt thousands of years ago. They had blueprints for a world we are only now starting to understand. They didn't have computers, but they had a deep understanding of the universe that we have completely forgotten. The past isn't just a story in a textbook. It's a warning. It shows us that technology can be lost. It shows us that great secrets can be buried under the sand for thousands of years. If you would love to find out more about the lost knowledge mysteries and dark history hidden deep in the shadows of planet Earth, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.